Welcome to the Vision Profiles podcast. Join us, two dedicated Apple Vision Profile users, as we dive into everything from hardware and software to apps and the latest updates in the world of Apple Vision Pro. You know, I say two dedicated Apple Vision Pro users, but it's always a pleasure to have our third with us tonight.
Yeah, geez.
I'm Marty Jencius. Faculty member at Kent State University, podcaster and avid Apple product fan.
And I'm Eric Bolden. I work in IT, but my interest is in finding ways to share content. Currently, photography of plants, birds like the hummingbird, and panoramic sequences. And I'm sure there's going to be a bunch more, especially with the new cameras coming out and the new iPhones.
Yeah. And I'm Daniel Burkholder, a software engineer and technologist interested in generative AI and AR, VR technologies for now.
Well, I'm curious, were each of you able to watch the keynote today?
Been hyped for it.
What'd you think?
I'm gonna let Eric go actually first because he's chomping at the bit.
I'm all set to press the buy button. I got my phone loaded. And it just
You already picked out like the color. What are you getting?
I didn't care what the color is. Well, it all depends on how slow I am, pressing the button when you can press, and I'll take whichever one is in stock with the most space.
True.
So how will you know that?
If I try and order it and it says 6 weeks, I'm going to pick a different one.
Okay, what's your color priority choice then?
I'm starting with silver.
In Pro or regular 16?
The Pro Max.
Yeah.
But I already ordered a case, and the case is black. So I figured it would go with the silver, and then I could have silver or I could have black, depending on whether or not I have a case on it. Somehow I get the feeling the phone is going to show up before the case. Well, I ordered the case from Smartish, and 7 or 8 days from when it ships to get to me, and I don't know when it's going to ship. But the case looks good. It looks similar to the one I have for my 15.
So no AirPods, no watch?
The AirPods is a possibility. It didn't sound like the stuff I was most interested in is out quite yet, so I can wait, a month or so. I'm really kind of interested in the hearing aid use, because I've got a couple of people that want to test that. And then if the sound is a little bit better, I see that as a good way to upgrade sound for the Apple Vision Pro.
What's on your shopping list?
You know what? So far, honestly, nothing. And I don't like it because I want to buy something. But yeah, I mean the phones, the only thing I would kind of be, I would like the cameras, all the new camera improvements, and the new like capacitive force sensitive shutter button and the little slidey thing. Like that's actually really awesome. But otherwise I'm at least on the phone, I'm kind of like, I decided earlier just a little while ago that I'm just not going to. I'm still on a 12 Pro Max. It's fine. I'd love all the AI features, but also when I realized that all the AI features aren't even going to be all in here this year, I kind of am like, and what they've shown so far too is kind of not super astounding. But to be fair, most consumer AI app products are not very like cool or novel yet. Though I did think the amount of being able to natural language search through your like photos and other content, I did think that was the most impressive thing, and probably what will get the most fanfare, at least as far as a consumer AI application, even though it's more machine learning, but it's part of AI, but that's whole semantics nonsense. The AirPods, at least on the Pros, I realized after actually it's not a new Pro model, AirPod Pro model. It's the same model. It's just getting a software update. So I already have the Pros, so I'm good. But I'm going to buy my partner a set as well, because he's on my hand-me-down original AirPods. So I'm going to get him some of those, especially for like the hearing aid feature and the adaptive EQ, and frankly for me too, because I can be very noise sensitive, because where I live in my special part of the spectrum. So I'm looking forward to some of that to help maybe soften some of that. And I mean, just who doesn't want to have optimized hearing at all times? So that'll be cool. But again, I wanted to buy something. I wanted something new. Watch. I had the very first watch. I fear I may have jaded myself from any future watch purchases
Yeah.
because I had the first one. But it does look nice. It looks hot. Um, and I it looks like it's probably like what a good 20% thinner. Like it looks nice,
Yeah.
but I just can't. I have trouble justifying it now, especially since like the health stuff. I mean, I don't go outside.
Yeah.
I don't work. So that would all be lost on me. So I think I'm just, aside from buying something from some pods from a partner, I think I'm just saving that money and I'm hoping for Mac refreshes in
Yeah.
October.
So,
'Cause, yeah.
well, I was just going to say that the watch, I use that for two-factor authentication and then to unlock my phone if it can't see enough of my face, like I'm wearing the Apple Vision Pro and I want to
Yeah.
see my phone, the watch will take care of unlocking it. So that's kind of nice. And
Yeah, I
then,
do miss those things.
yeah, and then it's just like it's almost like it's doing face recognition, even though you're wearing the Apple Vision Pro. It's just a neat effect. And then with the phone, you can get spatial stills now. So you don't have to take your headset outside to get the stills. That I kind of
Yeah.
like. So I had to do, spatial video and then just make it really short. And that wasn't what I was looking for. I just wanted a bunch of stills, and I didn't want to generate them. I wanted them, looking the way it really looks.
I think it was kind of
Yeah.
interesting though. They said that for the first time capturing spatial photos on an iPhone, it's like, wait a minute. You could do
Stills.
that on, oh, you couldn't do stills on the 15 Pro, just video
Oh,
on the 15 Pro?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's a strange limitation if you could do video,
My
but
guess is
okay.
it had to do with the orientation of the lenses. It wasn't high enough resolution. So if you're doing video, you wouldn't notice, but stills maybe you would. I'm not
Uh,
entirely sure.
okay, that's the subtlety I didn't pick up on. Okay, makes
So
sense.
yeah.
Speaking of spatial though, did you catch that on the Pro phones will capture spatial audio
Yeah.
too? That'll be interesting for
Yeah.
playback in Vision Pro.
Yeah. That was my take on it. I generally upgrade a lot. I got through the watch and I thought I've got a Ultra 2 right now, and I've also got a 9, and I go between them. The Ultra 2 has cellular in it. The 9 is GPS only. And I don't need all the stuff on the Ultra 2. I just don't need all the metrics on it. And it's big. And the only new piece with the Ultra 2 was, or the Ultra altogether, was they're going to make a black titanium one and an expensive Milanese band with a buckle on it that actually looks like a frowny face. If you take a good, they show that shot, it looks like a metal frowny face. But that aside, I decided here's what I'm going to do to finance it. I'm going to get a titanium 10, so and a black titanium 10. So I'm going for the gloss look from that, and I'm going to sell back my Ultra 2. I still have the 9. I'll probably do something with that. I don't need 2 watches. And I'm gonna turn the 10 into a cellular one, so it'll have the capabilities that the Ultra did.
Does your Ultra
Like,
2 have an O2 sensor that works?
no, not one that works. And basically
That makes
the
sense.
health pieces on both of them were the same. There wasn't any at this point. There wasn't any and it doesn't look like it's going to change until 11 and Ultra 3 or whatever. Then I'll look at that when that time happens. I got to the AirPods not expecting much and didn't get much for me. I have AirPods Pro 2, and I couldn't figure out what I needed from anything that AirPods 4 would give me besides in the AirPods 2 Pro 2 that I have has a USB charging case with it. So I've got that taken care of. I don't have to worry about that anymore. And the AirPods Max, I have one hanging on a clip here under the table where I work, and I forget it's there and never put it on. since the AirPods Pro has gotten so good with sound cancellation, particularly on planes. They say they've got it in the AirPods 4. I'm not sure it's going to be any better than what I'm getting in AirPods 2 anyways. So the hearing thing can be done on AirPods 2. There's all sorts of reasons for me just not to upgrade. I'm not sure who that was. AirPods 4 is addressed to. Daniel, maybe your partner is who it's addressed to.
Maybe. Well, no, I'm gonna get him the pros, but I mean,
Okay.
he could see now. Actually, historically, I have never been an in-ear headphone person. I hate the feeling of coldness. I hate that I can feel the low vibration of every time I take a step reverberate off my body. So when the so but I gave the AirPods Pro a chance because I know they had like air channels and
Hmm.
to help with that kind of effect. And hey, guess what? It actually worked. So but if they hadn't done that, then the regular pods may have been I would have probably still been in the market for those. So, you know, I mean, obviously price sensitive people, but then also maybe people who just don't like in-ears or just find the
Yeah.
fit better.
The for me, it was a decision between, it's been a decision. Do I take my AirPods Pro 2 on a plane because the noise cancellation is good enough? I know I'll get it on the AirPods Max that I have because I pretty much want to have that noise cancellation of the jet engine out. Now that I've got a Vision Pro, it's like I don't want to put headphones, over the ear headphones on top of the headset I have. So it works out well. I went with a more portable option, maybe not as good noise cancellation as I get with the over the ear, but it does the job so I can watch a movie and not disturb other people. So I skipped the AirPods. I got to the phone and knew that I was going to move towards a Max, Pro Max, and in fact, in my little hand
Yeah.
is a case. I went and ordered one ahead of time, and it's just a cheapie because I'll get another one that'll cover it that I like, but in the meantime, when that thing shows up, it gets covered. So I have it, and I had it in the box today, and I thought this thing might be going back to Amazon, depending on whether or not they got the camera configuration correctly and whether or not they got the camera button on the side in it. And sure enough, it did. It got both. So I'll stick with this. As it turns out, I ordered a case and it's going to appear tomorrow. I don't know. I just got a notice. I knew it was supposed to be the 11th, but then I just got a notice of delivery tomorrow for something. So yeah, I got 16 Pro Max. Currently on my Pro, I got a 256, so I upped it to 512. Color, I have a white one now, but I've been tempted towards the black titanium. So I have both of them saved, and that decision will come sometime later this week, or before Friday. I'll decide which one I'll send into order. Both of them are going to be available for me on the 20th on release date, the watch and the phone. So I'm that. We've got folks in the chat room at youtube.com/at vision profiles, and Cletus is in there. We've got some more folks watching. I'm just wondering if Cletus mentioned that he was going to be getting some things, and if you want to tell us what you're getting. And you said new phone and AirPod Pro. I'm curious what style you're getting, and anything you might want to include, we'll talk about it. Overall, the event, it was tough for me to get through.
I kind of tuned out at least
Yeah.
once they got to the Pro phone part. And I mean, it's the iPhone event. I mean, historically, it's the iPhone event. But and I mean, it's okay. I mean, these are like all super mature products. They're not going to be revolutionary every other one and every more anymore. But still was disappointed only for really just two things. One, I was hoping for some software release dates, iOS
Yeah.
18, Mac, was it Sequoia, and of course Vision OS 2. I was hoping for at least release dates. And with all of the hype around its glow time and everything new Siri is blowing everywhere, I did they even say the word Siri once?
Well, they just talked about AI and pretty much talked about what they said at the keynote at WWDC. There was
Yeah, they
really
just
no new information.
yeah, they just kind of
But isn't it?
this is the consumer kind of presentation. So then
Yeah,
it'll be on, Good Morning America tomorrow. So,
Mm.
but yeah, they just kind of repackaged it a little more consumer friendly.
I think it was expected to come out in 2 stages. So you've got enough of the OS to release the hardware, and then maybe a month, and then there'll be an update. And it's not until the update that you'll start to see some of the additional AI stuff and some of the
Yeah,
features. There's
I
a
was
lot
following.
that's not done yet.
Yeah, I was following a chat. A couple of things, Daniel. You talked about release, and I was following a chat, and people asked the same question in the chat. They didn't give any software release dates. I've also heard it on some podcasts that were released just a couple hours ago, and we're on the early end of podcast release to talk about this. But somebody in one of the chats said September 16th for iOS 18.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. Weirdly enough, just before we started recording this, I got a pop-up telling me that Sequoia, do you want to download Sequoia? So I've got the feeling that when this show's over, I'll go ahead and do that. I've been running the beta, but it came up. Let me see if I can do it without interrupting the process here. Available update, Mac OS Sequoia 15.0.
Yeah, maybe maybe they're just doing them in press releases and then
Yeah.
starting to roll out a little bit. Because, I mean, actually, yeah, what am I also saying? Like, if you can start buying the new phones on the 20th, it makes sense that the iOS should come out at least then or slightly before.
Yeah.
But
So, anyways, I had a hard time with the event. The rehash of what was at WWDC about AI without really describing what AI is. Craig Federini, I was in a chat with some folks, and Craig Federini went on about AI. I posted to the chat, this is like refrigerator magnet word. I mean, it's like every word that you could use to describe some technology around AI, he strung into a series of sentences. And for most listeners, it was like, what does that mean? That just sounds like tech hype words. It really didn't explain the product of Apple Intelligence, which makes me worry that they don't know the product yet.
does anyone? At least for consumer use cases. Business?
Yeah.
Oh man, no brainer. But
Yeah.
um, but I did think when Craig was demoing a lot of like searching through your own photos. Oh wait, I
Yeah.
already mentioned it, but I think that'll be probably one of the big ones. But then maybe some of the writing features people will use, but also get ready for a wave of what will probably look very obviously AI generated emails and texts from your friends and coworkers. A a future that, while cool, when I do spot people who obviously used AI, I don't appreciate it because I can tell when they suddenly are typing very proper and with a different cadence and tone
Well,
that they never type in.
if the deal is just to give you information, does it really matter? You've got a meeting at 10 o'clock a week from today. It's going to cover this, this, and this. Does it matter that that's generated by AI? That I put that information in, press a button, and you get a message or an email that has that wording in it because I'm just trying to convey the information.
Maybe if it could tell perhaps from the agenda and the calendar invite, and then it also knows that it got some emails that might be related, and then it could kind of bring them all together right at that moment in time.
Mhm.
I mean, and that would actually be awesome. A lot of the time.
Well, with Glow Time, the only thing that I could see connected to, well, there are a few things we've already mentioned, but particularly the Pro Max and Pro camera and the ability to do spatial stills, spatial audio, and also spatial recording 4K 120 FPS, I think is pretty cool. And that's like create the product on the phone, watch it on your Vision Pro.
Share it to all two people with one for right now, at least.
So for me, what I was looking for is any extension of battery life.
Mm.
That's probably my primary thing. So I'm still using an Ultra One because I don't use most of the features for it. I got it because of battery life. Because I use the watch pretty much all day long and all night long, and I get a short window to charge it. Potentially being able to charge the watch faster, that's a big plus for me.
Well, there was a mention about 80% fast charge in 30 minutes.
30, yeah. So basically getting ready for bed, you throw it on the charger, and by the time you're done, it's versus the grab a book, wait for it to charge, try and keep your eyes propped open, and then an hour later go to bed. So that's a nice improvement. And then with the phone, a little bit more time on the phone. That's a little less important because most of the time I drop my phone on a charger, but there are times when I'm operating nowhere near anything. And, then I'm either carrying batteries or something else. And occasionally I'm pushing it just a little bit.
Well, they said longest battery life of any iPhone, but they didn't tell you what that was. So,
well, it depends on what you're doing. So, what was it? It's 27 to 33 hours of video playback, 22 to 29 if it's streamed. So it's using network. Being able to charge faster with the new MagSafe connector, that's also a plus.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't heat up enough. I spent a lot of time with messages saying that everything heated up too much and it's going to pause charging for a moment until it cools down.
I was traveling this weekend, and for the first time, in a long time, I was using maps and listening to podcasts, and the thing got hot to the touch. This is my 15 Pro Max. Just a little warmer than what I'm used to. And it reminded me of the problems that people had with the Pro Max this last year with temperature. I'd never experienced that before. The other thing that happened was I was getting lots of long text messages from family members. There are a couple of family members who will write novels, and the text message came up from them, and I was offered the opportunity to get a summary.
Wow.
So some of the AI stuff was working for me. I'm running the beta and staying ahead of it as much as I can, but those were just surprises. Well, I think we've kind of wrapped what we're going to say around its glow time. They didn't do the tie into that very well. I mean, Siri now glows. The frame of the phone, not the actual frame of the phone, but the window that the phone is in when Siri is evoked glows like a frame. And so seeing that in the beta, I kind of figured that's what glow time was about. But I don't know, they didn't tie it in.
Well, and all the advertising leading up to it, the art, like the graphics were just like the Siri graphics when you have it pop up nowadays, and it's the multicolor bubble with the streams in it, which is why I thought they would talk about it. I mean, and Siri is kind of also an Apple Intelligence story on the side.
Yeah.
So perplexing miss. It makes like you wonder if they had something planned, but they couldn't get it baked in time.
So I think we can skip over the next. Before we got all this information on glow time, there was a report coming out of MacTrast last week that says a last-minute report claims iPhone 16 Pro to be capable of shooting 4K 120 FPS, and sure enough, it is. So we don't need to talk any. It was confirmed. We don't need to talk more about it. Rolled out a beta last week. The 9th developer beta for it. I don't know if you saw anything particularly of interest in the beta.
Nope. Still works, still stable.
Yeah.
I haven't noticed anything different.
What did I hit? When you change environments and you click and then you can select light, dark, or automatic. I'm stuck in an environment in at that level and I can't get out of it. I reboot my device, I go to environments and it says light, dark, or automatic. And if I close it, it goes away. If I go back to it, it brings that section. I can't get back up to all of the environments.
Oh, so like you're stuck in a environment and a night, day night mode.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
I have no idea how to fix that.
And you can't even go back to like just full pass there.
Well, I mean, it's pass through. It's in the selection for it,
Oh,
right? In the preference for it, and I want to pick a different environment, but I can't get out of that subsection of light, dark, automatic. So I was hoping one of you had seen that and knew how to get out of it. I will do some more playing then. But that's really the only issue I've seen. So I haven't tested the other environments because I'm still trying to decide between light, dark, and automatic.
what will he pick? We'll never know.
Yeah, including his cell phone color. We don't know that for sure.
Yeah.
Silver, but with
There's
a black.
it's white. I don't think it's silver.
It was
There's a titanium.
Natural titanium.
Oh, natural titanium. Yeah, my goal is to pick the one that nobody else wants. But I've got the one that I've got. I've got both choices locked in for the release day.
I thought
I'll
that
put some
brown
links.
was hot until I saw it in real video. But when I saw it in real video, then it was way too light. But in the promo video, it was more of a dark and a brown. I was like, ooh. But
yeah, I don't know. Technology and me don't go down that path of nature colors.
oh yeah, I mean, I like the color. I wouldn't buy it though. But I can admire it from afar. Like that's how those things go. Like my partner, he's got cool wheels in his car, and I'm like, those are cool. Me, I could never buy those, but they're cool.
I picked my phone color based on I set it on top of the roof of the car, and I want to notice it's on the roof of the car before I drive off. And if I drive off anyway and it slides off the car, I want to be able to go back to the field or the road or wherever I am, and I want to be able to see the phone. I don't want it camouflaged.
Bonus, other drivers can see the phone on the dark road and won't hit it or try to avoid it.
Okay.
Not that, the experience of losing a phone off the top of my car was a personal one, but that's why I had to stop in Vegas to get a replacement phone.
Yeah, at least it wasn't a baby.
No comment.
Yeah. So I put some links in here from some posts that we got regarding developer September newsletter and some things about Vision Pro that's in the Apple developer newsletter, including a link about how to design great Vision OS apps, and it's a short video for people who are developers who might want that with connections for more information. And then designing interactive experiences for Vision OS, another video. And these were part of WWDC, or what came out of WWDC. Daniel, what do you think?
I mean, it doesn't
anything special here?
I didn't see anything super special. My only perhaps maybe joke to say is some of the Vision Pro devs might want to look at some of those guides on how to design some. 'Cause there's been some apps I've used, and I'm not going to call him out because I've already emailed them, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to move that button," but people putting buttons way too close together, and so I'm like trying to hit pause, but because they're too close together, and your eyes are just moving all the time. I'm like hitting next episode and whatever, and I'm trying to pause. And so, because I know they were like, yes, you want to put these buttons so and so many units apart. So stuff like that doesn't happen. But I didn't see much. I did skim them. I didn't see too much. It was kind of just mostly surface level.
Next article, it comes from XR Today, and it is their attempt to talk about the Apple Vision Pro OS 2 and what's new for Vision OS 2. We've heard a lot of this, but then there's some other parts in here that I think the author Rebecca Carter, did a fairly good job of tying things together with it. Of course, they had to get the $3,500 price tag in it, but did a fairly nice job at this point describing what's going to happen with Vision OS 2. I have somebody and a friend who I won't reveal because I don't know if he wants it to be revealed, but he got his hands on a Vision Pro, and took him less than 24 hours to jump to 2.0. And so, reminding us about what's available in this. And actually, I just got a text message from him saying, these personas are hard to get set up. And that is one of the complaints I have about Vision Pro. Keep wanting me to tilt my head, the persona, tilt your head back. It is back. This is just my big neck. So, he was having the same experience that I was having with it, or have had with it.
Did you send in feedback?
Yeah, I told him to have somebody else hold it for him instead of trying to do that.
Yeah, no, that was good for him. But did you send feedback to Apple saying, "Hey, I'm having this issue"?
Well, yeah, I did, and I think at one time it switched me into like accommodation mode, and I was able to do it better then. That there is sort of a accommodation mode that you can do.
Oh, that's good to know.
When you take your persona, I picked up this trick for like when in photography to have better portraits of yourself, especially like as I'm gaining some weight too, got a little bit of chin going on there. So like if you're having a portrait taken of you, like kind of trick is like you want to like stick your neck out or your head out and then tilt your head down a little. And then it kind of hides that and gives your chin a little more definition. But like from the side, you look like this. Like it look like, but it helps, right? It makes the portrait look better. So I actually do my Vision Pro personas like that too. So I'm like stretching, looking my face down, but I think it helps. Maybe there's a tip there. Maybe that'll help him as well.
I put mine on the bookshelf, which was about the height that would work for me. So because I couldn't hold it out far enough and I have long arms, but for some reason it said, no, step back further. It's like, I can't unless this thing's going to levitate. So I put it on a bookshelf, but of course the bookshelf was in a part of my room where there was no light. So then it was like, oh, it's too dark. I just had have a Dickens of a time with this. And it seems like I had to do it a couple of times, particularly when I set up 02 or 2.0 rather. I needed to do it again, and it was more difficult each time. So
it definitely wants lots of light. The more light, the better.
So this article, Apple Vision Pro OS 2, what's new for Vision OS 2? Pretty good review. And it's organized well in terms of that. Enterprise and productivity features, gesture navigation, updates and personas, entertainment and device sharing. And then it breaks it down into other updates too. Nice little things like look to dictate, AirPlay receiver, security updates.
I'm not an Apple Music user, so I ignored all that, but I didn't know you can create a sing-along session in Apple Music. Okay.
A sing-along session for who though? Is it just for you or
persona karaoke?
Yeah. Oh,
maybe. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
I can't want to try that now.
I want to avoid that.
Nobody else is involved.
That actually could be a thing. And actually, there's actually a game on Steam. It's not karaoke, but it's called Comedy Night, and it's just kind of like lobbies to do stand up as like little animated characters. But actually, like persona stand up on like a public lobby, that would be cool. Actually, I'd do that. I'd actually go because I want to do some stand up at some point, and I have some material. I just need to form it into something, coherent to do a real set. But that'd be fun. Actually, I would do that. Maybe I should make that. Don't steal my idea.
Open mic persona night.
Yeah.
At the Laugh Factory or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, at the Improv or something. Yeah.
Games. I'm not a gamer, but some of these I'd be tempted to try, I think. 8 new games join Apple Arcade, including Balatro Plus. Have any of you play? Daniel, you're probably more of a gamer than either Eric or I am.
So while I'm a gamer, I exclusively don't play mobile games. I don't know. I got turned off them a long time ago. And I mean, actually, semi-related. You guys talk about how much you guys use your phones. I'm like, man, I feel like the strangest millennial. I barely use my phone. I try to not use my phone much at all. And so I mean, yeah, I'm not super familiar in Balatro. If I'm okay, I must be mistaking that game then. There's another game that I was like thinking of was Balatro, and if it was, let's just say it's would be a little violent for Apple to feature. So thinking of something else.
Sonic Dream, Wildflowers by Studio Didoc, Outlanders 2, Hello Kitty Island Adventure.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, also Balatro plus NBA 2K25, Food Truck Pup.
It is nice that they're talking about more games though, especially from the Apple Arcade, because for a while it was really hard to find those.
Yeah, I mean, if I want to go into multiplayer games and be insulted by 10-year-olds, I'll just get a Meta. So yeah, we'll have the link to that article. This came out of the Apple newsroom. And then both of you I think both of you have had an opportunity. I haven't yet. I read about them, but the environments, some new environments. Not environments, I'm immersive videos.
Immersive video. Yeah, that's what got me stuck with my setting. I thought, oh, new environments. And I went and I looked and poof, now I can't see any anymore. But immersive videos, they were cool. The Hawaiian Island overflight and the clips from the Super Bowl. Yeah. So, and I think we talked briefly about the elevated Hawaiian Islands. But at that time, we weren't sure if there was going to be an audio track or not. And they got somebody from the islands to talk about each island as you go. So they show it from above, and there's like a little animated map thing, so you know where you are, which island you are on, and how to spell it, and then an overview kind of some of the main points. In some ways, I wish it was longer, but it's short enough that you can get in, watch it, and go on to something else. And
so, are you always at 20,000 feet, or I mean, what's the? I'm asking out of curiosity. Also,
it felt like a helicopter tour.
Oh, okay.
And maybe they used a drone at one point. In the video, there's a shadow that's kind of a small shadow, but I couldn't tell if it was a high helicopter or a small drone. So,
how is it for vertigo or for motion?
I really dislike heights, and I have a problem with like videos of roller coasters, and I had no problem with this one.
Oh, okay.
It was nice, and you get to see volcanic activity. You get to see some of the treetops. They're really careful about how they showed. There's one that's got like really high cliffs, and they're careful of how they showed it. So it didn't feel like you're going to crash in. It didn't feel like you're going to drop off the edge. You could get the sense of it, but it didn't really affect me. So yeah, I was happy with that.
The balloon one, just kind of on the edge for me. There are a couple of scenes that it's like, whoa. With heights and with vertigo from the video. I got through that without trouble, but I was curious about this.
Yeah, this one was good. I think the speaking in the background helped a lot, and there wasn't a ton of fast motion. There's one where you're flying over a canyon, so there's a stream that's going along, and that had motion, but it wasn't like tons of motion going on as you were, flying into something.
Yeah.
So I felt very comfortable in that one.
And then Super Bowl 58.
I have to say I'm not really a football person, but I enjoyed the video a lot. There's one section where you're smack dab in the middle of the crowd, and you can look around you, and the audio is good. You can hear the cheers and the motions and people's arms and standing, and all that kind of stuff. Or a face-on view of the crowd, and then you get to see kind of everybody and what they're all doing. A couple of scenes where you're right on the field, either as somebody's coming towards you or some action is happening kind of right nearby. A couple of scenes where they're first coming onto the field. Some scenes afterwards where everybody's celebrating. Couple scenes where I was really nervous about the camera they were using, thinking I really hoped it was wrapped in plastic wrap or something, because there were liquids all over the place flying down. And but yeah, it was well done. Again, it could have been longer, but maybe that's good. It didn't drag on at all. It was a nice sampling. Kind of, it made me want to see more of that kind of footage. Like it could be really good. I wish we could see a lot more of it. I don't know if it's just that it's that difficult to get good footage. It doesn't have too much motion, or I don't know what the issue is that's preventing us from seeing longer sequences.
Yeah, I told you, I think we had this discussion last week. I'll take lousy video over no video whatsoever on this. I mean, you were saying, what about camera placement with the game and where it's going to be? And I'm like, I don't care. I just want to see it. I want to be immersed in it.
Yeah, although I don't want something that's bad enough that it makes me nauseous. I think that runs the risk of killing everything. It's just really neat. It's I would take a section in the audience, in the bleachers perspective. I would love to see that of all kinds of matches, to just be right there, hearing everybody as they're all excited with whatever play is going on, without actually being there at 100 and something degrees or 20 below zero.
Yeah, but I mean,
that would be nice.
Yeah, we get like 3 or 4 minutes of video every 6 months. I mean, that's what's frustrating. It's like we had the MLS, a while ago, the immersive video. Yeah. Now we've got the NFL. I guess we're going to have to wait for baseball season to finish and the World Series to get 4 minutes of video from the World Series win.
Well, it shows us that it can be done. I've noticed when you watch the video, if you look up and look to the sides, the shape of whatever it is you're looking through is different in almost all of the clips. It's not the same camera system. The outline is a little bit different. That I found kind of interesting. I have no idea how they're shooting it. Maybe it's so early that there just isn't anything out there that makes it easy. I'm really kind of looking forward to when the new iPhone comes out. Can we get some people using, shot on iPhone immersive video? I think there's some possibilities. Some of the apps that let you go and see different places around the world, I'm fine. Those are longer sequences than what I'm seeing here.
Daniel, do you have any thoughts on this?
I unfortunately haven't seen either of those, and it sucks that I'm not a sports fan, because a lot of the best content on the Vision Pro is sports related right now. Not just immersive video, but even some of the apps. Like, I mean, maybe I'm a car guy. I don't even want to watch racing. Boring. But there's some really cool apps for that too. But no, I was actually just kind of wondering too, sitting here, I'm like, did they do anything for the Olympics? Missed opportunity. Unless it takes a long time to edit or something, and maybe there will be something at some point. But yeah, missed opportunity if they didn't. But yeah, Eric, to your point, like now I'm just wanting to see I want to see somebody make a home movie, spatial movie, horror movie.
Oh.
And I'm not a horror movie person. I just want somebody to do it. I just want to know they did it.
Well, we'll talk about one of the apps that is pretty wild. That we'll get into that. Well, let's talk about that right now. There is an app that's out called Hauntify, and Eric, be nice.
No, I like, you have that thing with heights, and I have a height thing. But horror, that is definitely something that is off my list.
Yeah.
Keep my eyes closed, not listen to anything, and at that point, it's really hard to experience it. And
yeah,
I'm curious to hear what it was like, because I don't want to go see it.
Yeah, I'm not a big horror fan or whatever. I love watching other people do
yeah,
it though.
I'd watch
Super
that.
fun.
Yeah.
And I mean, I find most horror things, I mean, games, that just end up being too jump scary where it's like,
Yeah.
come on, this is get gimmicky. But if it was some real nice, subtle psychological horror, like in Amnesia, The Dark Descent, like where it's just there's not really much going on, nothing's popping out at you, but just you can be doing nothing and you're creeped out. And it's not any one thing, it's just the whole experience. That'd be cool. But I was watching the clip just now and it's just, oh man, it's like jump scare, jump scare. It's like, ah, come on,
Yeah,
guys. We can do a little better than that.
you're absolutely right. It's for me, it was interesting. I bought the app, and here were some problems I had with it. It was difficult to get going. There was so many splash screens that came up asking permissions, establishing conditions. And then it's like one was, okay, you can do this until you get through it once, then you have to do that. I mean, there were all these conditions on the app that I just wanted to start playing and figure out what it was. Eventually, it got started, and it's one of those scenarios where you have to record the mesh in your room. So I wound up getting off my couch, walking around, and trying to paint the room basically for the mesh. And I only did it once in the living room, and then I realized there wasn't a lot of motion going on, and so I went ahead and did it. The living room attached kitchen, attached dining room. And I couldn't figure out what the goal was of this. There were a few jump scares. The zombies are pretty good in design compared to the other zombie app that we talked about. There's diversity in these zombies, and by that I mean kids and adults. And you'd go into the room, and I think the objective is to avoid coming in contact with whoever's haunting you. And when I didn't do that, it seemed like they in covered me and then disappeared like they had gone into my body. I didn't find it particularly scary. I found it a little bit more frustrating than anything else. But that was my thing with it. It was hard to just take me through some stages so I could learn the more complicated aspects of the game and the choices that I had. But I had to make all these choices where I had no context whatsoever to make them in order to start the damn game.
Early times. I have to imagine making a game like that can't be easy because how do you design experiences for an environment that you have no idea
No
what it'll
idea.
be?
Yeah.
Or like some videos of guys hiding under a table. It's like, how do you even know there's going to be something like that? And then you could maybe do something around, like some creepy legs walking around you and you're hiding under the table. No, I mean, I know, and you see some of the apps that kind of expose some of the underlying meshing that's always going on. You can see where, like, I might look at my desk and it will actually literally say desk. It just that just kind of comes built in for free. So I guess some of that would help, but I have to imagine it's not simple, and you need to hopefully collect a bunch of scenario data to then try to make more experiences in different people's home setups. And
Well, for the more sophisticated gamer, I'd say it's worth the $8. I don't know if I'll ever open it again or spend any time with it, but I was curious about it given what was on the site and what it would look like. Two more apps to talk about tonight. Spatial Paint, which is an interesting little thing. The video that you see connected to the app is pretty cool, where a person's in a good enough space where they can actually draw in the middle of the air. They can put together a three-dimensional face or a head with it, and it seems kind of fun. I again attempted to do it from my couch, and hand gestures and finger gestures were really pretty good. They weren't clanky at all in terms of movement and such. Getting to a different palette, figuring that out is a different process. So what I painted wound up being all, and what I tried to shape wound up being all the same color. But it seems like it would be for someone who is artistic and has one of these sets. And obviously you're not in an enclosed environment. You can see the environment around you. So there's pass through. So you can pretty safely be able to do whatever piece of work you want to do with it. Artistic individuals might enjoy this a lot. I think it's great because it's a direct application to the Vision Pro platform and the 3D nature of what could be done in it.
Did things stay in space? Like if you drew some strokes and then could you like walk around it?
Exactly. Yeah, you could.
Okay, that gives
Um,
me ideas because I was thinking like some real example, me, I have like a small deck in the back and I need some like lattice or whatever, like
Yeah.
very simple, right? But it would be kind of cool if I wanted to maybe do some design on it. I could go literally paint it in real space. And then I noticed that you can export all of this as a USDZ file.
Uh-huh.
So then I'm almost thinking like, I mean, I don't know if you guys have iPads or with
yeah.
pencils and use them, but
Yeah.
like many a times I've taken a picture and then sketched my idea on it. So that, but 3D.
Ah,
I know what's here a little bit.
yeah.
He could
Yeah.
actually expand on that and almost like a really drawing it on the real world. And then if you could also export some of the context data around it, that'd
Hmm.
be really neat.
Yeah. I can see the possibilities of it. I do not have any artistic skill or even design skill, but
Hmm.
that was pretty cool. And then the third app to talk about is Movies Anywhere. And I think the pitch was what sold me on it. I'm not sure. I mean, I think there's some complication in the setup. Like I have to create an account with Movies Anywhere. From there, they even say in the app, you can do this on the web. I mean, basically connecting my iTunes or Apple TV stuff, my Prime Video, all the different places I might have picked up video. And you can connect it on the web, and then it works once you log in to your account through the Vision Pro headset. It'll work for you and the headset. I also know that this is not exclusive to Vision Pro. So it's iOS and I think iPad in addition. So this is a version that's just come over to be used on Vision Pro from sort of an iPad structure. There's nothing unique about it, but it does the idea of having all of those different potential sources or you might have purchased something at some time, have accessible as a panel to select just makes it seem a lot easier.
It could be fun. Does it let you add your own stuff too, or only from services?
Don't know.
Yeah, it seems more like a cataloging
Yeah,
service with respect to what accounts you have. Kind of like what Apple TV wants always tries to be. So then you could like if you logged in on everything, then you could when you search general, it would search all. I think that's
yeah,
the idea. And then maybe they show, then they make their money showing it's like, oh, you could watch it on Amazon Prime for 99 cents. Now we
yeah,
got
yeah.
a kickback.
There are ways to do in-app purchases. So I think that's where they're getting their revenue by
Yeah.
getting people to purchase within the app through Amazon or whatever. Like a menu comes up of here are the $7 movies that are now available if you want to spend $7 and pull down a movie. So that's what we've got for this week. I don't know if either of you have any other comments.
No, give me Vision OS 2. Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, don't
That's all I
know.
want. I just want it official.
Don't know when
Yeah.
that release is going to be. A lot of disappointment that they didn't. Well, it was the phone day, okay, but it would be nice to just give us some teasers about other products.
Yeah, they usually do front run it with being like, reminder, we make all this other stuff. So yeah,
Right.
I was expecting like a 30-second bit on how all our amazing ecosystem and products
Yeah.
and lead into that. But whatever. I mean, granted, it is the iPhone, but yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have any, I wasn't pretentious to think that they were going to release a Mac Mini or they were going to release another, a iPad Mini, an updated iPad Mini. They stayed within the guardrails of what they would do with this kind of event. And that's okay.
Maybe they had to in some respects. So, because if I mean, and my friends, and if the general vibe is kind of meh,
Yeah.
then the only way to keep all the attention on the phone and pods is just to not talk about anything else.
Well,
Maybe,
even
maybe
that,
it's
it could have been a half hour shorter. I mean, I didn't need to see the weekend getting a video done. You just told us all, and they spent a lot of time on the 16 Pro or 16 and 16 Plus. kind of covering in depth all the things that it could do. And then they had this long discussion about AI in the middle of it. And then they jumped to the Pro Max and the Pros almost it felt like an afterthought. Oh yeah, we got it. We've been holding this out on you. So let us tell you this. There wasn't, I don't know, it just seemed like there was a lot of space.
And it was so long on the initial part, like you're saying, it got to the point I'm like, wait, did they do the Pro phones?
Yeah.
What? They're not about to one more thing the Pro phones, because that would be a bastardization of one more thinging something.
And I the watch was good. I mean, but I think even some of that was kind of long.
Yeah.
Well, it's a little bit difficult because a lot of what they want to do in the year has to do with the Apple Intelligence stuff that's not out yet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sort of difficult to come out, announce, and show you a bunch of stuff, kind of mention Apple Intelligence a little bit, but then not get into anything that's not totally ready yet, or mention it briefly and then give not a lot of detail of exactly when. So hardware will come out. It'll have the new OS, the extra features that'll be later. And there might be a few features on top of that will be even later yet. Yeah. And then we'll get some Mac OS stuff, next month at some point. So there's a lot of setup really.
Yeah. But there was nothing that they said on AI that wasn't said at WWDC. And in fact, at WWDC, they almost did a better job of it by going into look at all the things you can do with Apple Intelligence with iOS. Look at all the stuff that you can do with Apple Intelligence with Mac OS.
Yeah, but you can't push all that if that's not what's shipping on the shipping phone. That's all coming out with an OS update later. So you don't want to emphasize that because no one's going to get it.
Yeah, but you're talking about nothing. I mean, that's what it was. It was talking about nothing.
I think you've gotten jaded over the years.
I know a lot about AI, and I have some, like, Daniel was saying, there's some really cool independent, people from a professional standpoint doing cool stuff with AI. That's not the iPhone.
Myself included.
Yes, but this wasn't the AI.
That was my point. It felt like it. They went on forever about nothing.
This was iPhone hardware, the first part of the new OS.
And they could have done that and done end of story. We're going to give you some AI stuff that we talked about at WWDC.
How much of that is that they just aren't far enough along yet? And that kind of,
maybe still feeling out the testing the waters. And I mean, I don't even know if we know what AI features will be in 2024. I don't know if we know. I'm going to bet what we'll see in 2024 is just the summarization.
Yeah.
Some of the text writing assistance, because both of those are pretty low hanging fruit relatively and pretty safe to do. The Genmoji, which the cowboy frog actually did crack me up.
But most of the on-device stuff should exist. Anything that's going off device to go do something, that seems to be a lot more in question.
Yeah, except maybe like the ChatGPT if you want to offload it to there. But they didn't talk. Oh, and then they did all the image and the image removal and cleanup or whatever. Kind of happy they didn't do the what Google's been pushing so hard lately of like take the photo and then you swap out and get in it, and then we just basically photoshopped you in it. Cool feature, yes. Do I want it?
Yeah, it's just a bad idea.
I tried to remove my head from a photograph.
I've tried that once.
Yeah, and it was interesting because all it did was pixelate me. So I looked like I was in the witness protection. I mean, I tried to circle it and take my head off, and that wouldn't work. Now I had in the picture, I had my hand up like I was waving, and I could take my arm off, but I couldn't take my head off. So it's selective on what appendages you can remove. Apparently.
Well, and it wouldn't surprise me if they put some effort in to try to prevent you from doing things like swapping people's heads and putting somebody that shouldn't be in that position. I think that
then what good is it if you can't?
There are a lot of issues with that, and I mean, and that's one of the problems that they're having with some of the other image manipulation.
I know. I'm just
which is
kidding
one
you.
reason. Well, that's one reason why things like the Genmoji, they can put a ton of stuff in that because you're not going to end up with anything affecting a real person. Removing stuff from a picture, objects, branches, trees growing out of your head, that all makes sense. And they label it, so most of the time you can tell that it has had something removed. So I guess I prefer the really, really cautious approach because I don't want something really bad to happen right as they're getting started out of the gate because that'll just slow everything down.
I mean, that's their brand as well. I mean, they're
Yep.
not, they're like, if you want to go do that, go over to use
I guess if I'm gonna,
Grok,
I'm going to take my head off. I'm going to have to start using Android.
Yeah, they got to go on X now.
Or you get one of the apps.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know you can Photoshop that. I know we've had problems with in the past. I mean, I've worked with students. We've had problems in the past with people Photoshopping stuff they shouldn't do. I just wanted to take my head off, and it was my picture, and it was my head.
Not allowed.
So maybe
said no.
Yeah. Apple said no. Dad said no. So maybe we'll end on that word. While I still have my head. Daniel, great to have you here. And I respect you coming in when you can come in, and you always add some great information, great points of view. So thank you for joining us, and thank the listeners and people who are watching the YouTube video for joining us on Apple Vision Pro. We'd love to hear from you. If you have any ideas or want to join in on an episode, email us at visionprofilespodcast@gmail.com. I am messing around with the website. I got tired of our visionprofiles.info and am trying to move that URL to another location. In the process, the site is dead. I'm starting to do some things on the podtalk.net where you can get the streams from there if you want to get the streams from there. And I'm looking at another platform once I move visionprofiles.info over to that platform to be able to do the same thing. So just get in touch with us. You know how to find us. You can find us at visionprofilespodcast@gmail.com. Our bumper music is from Steve Combs, Free Jazzy, courtesy of the Free Music Archive. Learn more about us and the Vision Profile podcasts at our website, visionprofiles.info. And as I said, that's probably going to be shifted soon. And all of our available podcasts, including Vision Profiles, at thepodtalk.net. Spread the word to other visionaries. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.